Hello guys, hello everyone. I welcome you all to DataCouch. Today we have a meetup session on generative AI.
Right.
Hello, am I audible? Am I audible to everyone?
Yeah.
Okay. Welcome to DataCouch. Today we have a meetup session and we have Indrajit over here to take up this meetup session today on Generative AI Studio. Before we proceed further, let me give you a brief introduction about DataCouch. Just give me a second to share my screen. Is there a slide visible Indrajit? Okay.
Yes.
Yes, yes,
Okay. So before we move further with our today's meetup session, let me give you a brief introduction about DataCouch. DataCouch is a professional service delivery company that specializes in courses like Agile, DevOps, data, generative AI, data science-based consulting, implementation, and training. We have been working for more than 7+ years, and we are experts in browser-based lab solution and other managed services. We have been providing browser-based solution and managed-based services and are leaders in technologies like generative AI, blockchains, NFTs, streaming analytics, AR, VR, cybersecurity, drones, and many more. We have transformed over 150,000 participants, and we have been delivering sessions in more than 75 different technologies. We have been focusing mainly on Web3 technologies, generative AI, big data, DevOps, cloud, etc. We have been industry experts and we have delivered many meetup sessions like this. When we talk about our footprints, we have our footprints that include many global Fortune 500 companies like Accenture, TCS, Sapient, Adobe, Walmart, etc. And talking about this meetup session, we have three communities. We have three meetup sessions. That is, first one is AI Minds, which is a hub for AI intellectuals. Then we have Generative AI User Group based in Pune. Then we have All Things Data, which is our third group, and all of the groups have more than 150,000 plus members globally. And we have successfully delivered over 200 plus meetup sessions up till now, covering more than 100 plus technologies. If we talk about some of our achievements, then we have been sharing global knowledge all over the world. We have some global we have been we have been recently acknowledged by some of the industry giants like Confluent. We have been the global education partner for 2022 and 2023. Then we have also been recognized as the first training delivery partner for Starburst, One House, Brinka, etc. And if we are talking about DataCouch, then we have been delivering learning paths for generative AI in various personas like developers, analysts, managers, and executives. If you have any queries or anything, then you can reach us at hello@datacouch.io. For the class to be successful, we will be having support group also in which Aditya Tripathi will be taking care of the support group. If you face any problem or have any doubts, you can drop us all in the chat sections and we will surely be covering it. Indrajit will also be looking over there to your relevant queries. So Indrajit, I want you to take over now and start the class.
All right. Thank you, Nissan,
Thank you.
for
Okay.
a brief and introducing about this course. So, hi everyone. Very good evening and good uh, morning if you are joining from US or any other location. So, this would be a very interesting and exciting session. And let's try to make most out of this session. We should be able to learn about AI Studio and how generative AI Studio is being a very useful tool um, in leveraging generative AI. All right. So Azure AI or Azure AI Studio, I'll quickly share my screen and let me know if you can see my screen. Yep.
yes.
Right. Thank you. Thanks for confirming. Okay. So to all of you, I hope that some of you are already aware of LLMs and Gen AI, and we all are like been using Gen AI for almost 1.5 year, right? So ChatGPT is free for all of us. So um, and there are lot many tools like that, and Microsoft has already cured Gen AI. I mean, especially OpenAI's GPT models, right? So this is like a great, I mean, I would say, um, um, tool and a framework that helps us leverage a generative AI very beautifully. So before I dive into it, I want to know, like, how many of you have some idea about Azure Cloud, or technologies like, um, LLMs, especially like they are leveraged through these kind of platforms. You can give me a thumbs up. You want to write in chat. That's more time consuming than giving a sign. So let's make this session more interactive. You can ask questions. Um, okay, Dhruv, I can see. Who else? Okay, Gaurish. Yes. Okay. Okay. Sun has just few knowledge. That's okay. We are here to learn. Anyone else aware of? Okay, Vipin as well. Good, good to know. Okay, so thank you so much for all the inputs. Generative AI, and AI Studio, right? Azure AI Studio is a platform that basically is available in Azure. So you will have to log into Azure to get into this service. Okay, Subha Priya saying have knowledge in Azure, but AI is new to me. All right, good. So you know about Azure Cloud, but AI is so. Azure has many services which actually help us leverage generative AI. Azure AI Studio is one of them. I can launch, let's say, a GPT cluster, or maybe serverless GPT API from Azure AI Studio, or I can do it from Azure AI services. I can do it from Azure OpenAI. All of these are, there are like different purposes and different ways to launch the same Gen AI tools like GPT or Llama or any other LLM models. So but there are like there are additional features, there are different components that helps us make things more easier. And also the target audience is different, like some of them are more developer friendly, some of them are more non-developer friendly, right? So there is a variety of features and tools, technologies that are integrated with this kind of Azure services, right? So like if you have seen ML, if you're not speaking, please keep yourself on mute. All right, thank you so much. So, like Azure AI service, we had earlier Azure ML Studio, right? So similarly, now we have Azure AI Studio. How do you launch it? So if you go to portal azure.com, you can create a resource and you can select a specific resource here. So you can see like we have a section Azure AI and machine learning. And in AI machine learning, we have Azure AI services, right? So I can search like Azure AI Studio, right? So this is like, either you can directly search it, and once you like be able to search the Azure AI Studio, you should be able to launch this, right? So this is like a service that you would have to create. So once you create the service, you should be able to come to the page where I can see Azure AI Studio. Okay, so this is like service under all the Azure AI services. So if I go to Azure AI service, you can see I have Azure AI service here, right? And in this, I have created, so you can click on create, and you can create a Azure AI service, right? So once you create your Azure AI service, you should be able to access Azure OpenAI, speech, vision language, translator, Azure AI services, and so on, right? In this, we have one of the services, that is Azure AI service. And this will help you launch. If you click on this Azure AI service, this is where you will be able to launch Azure AI Studio. So if you see this, this is the primary services. Any questions? Right? This primary service is AI Studio. So now I will go to the AI Studio, and I will open this OpenAI Bootcamp Azure service. And this, in this, you can see there are few overview, like, I have a key and endpoint. I have like the OpenAI services, I have a speech service, content safety, computer vision, language, translator, and so on, right? So there are many multiple services that are available under this. And I also have some keys and endpoints that I can actually access. And if I wanted to, use VS Code or any kind of code editor, and from there I want to chat with this models, I can do that. You need to set up an environment variable with the variables like the link to the APIs and also the API key. So as it is a webinar with a limited time, we will focus today on most of the things on the UI and what we can do on the UI front, so that, like, we get to know overall what is AI Studio and what are the components that are available in the AI Studio. Okay. Before I proceed, any questions, anyone? Anyone have any questions? Anyone have any questions here? Okay, cool. So I can choose any of them. I have deployed multiple Azure AI Studios services. So I'll click on Azure AI Studio, and this will launch the complete studio here. And there are a lot of stuff that we will go through, yeah, as we can see. So first of all, in the Azure AI Studio, once you launch the Azure AI Studio, you would see an home page, right? In the home page, you can see like getting started with Azure AI Studio, Assistant API available on Azure OpenAI service. So there are some tools and tasks that are available, deploy large language models, and you can see the deployments from here. These are some shortcuts that are available, and you can also explore some cutting edge models like AI 21 labs or Microsoft based labs or OpenAI lab models like DALI, GPT-4, GPT-4o, and there is Nextla. So there's a lot of things that are coming on, and every week there is a new model that are being added here. Okay, so you can infuse your solutions with Azure AI services like speech, language, vision plus document, content safety. All of those you can integrate on these platforms. This is a great platform. There are so many things we can do. So I will one by one I will explain about some of the important services that you can access from AI Studio. The first thing that you should do is you can create a project here, right? So you can name it, let's say, webinar demonstration, right? 28th, 2024, 28th June 2024. So I know there is a character limit, so I think I should say just demo. Okay, and then I can create a new hub, or I can use the existing hub. So once I select it, I should be able to create a project here. Okay, so this will create a project, and I will not create every and every all of the services, but just showing you that how to get started with Azure AI Studio. All right, so once I create a project, because all of these gonna take some time. If I show you each and everything, it is not possible for me to complete it within the time frame that we have. All right, so I'm going to let it complete, and then once we come to this webinar demo project, then I have basically nothing here. So we can see like some settings, some model catalog, some model benchmarks. So I will go through each of them slowly, and then I will explain that what are the services that we should be using and how do we actually use some of these models. So first thing that you can see in the project overview is like build and deploy a question and answer copilot with prompt flow. So we have something called prompt flow. It's like uh, an user based interface where you can actually drag and drop the, earlier days we have DAG or ETL workflows there we can or create graph based pipelines, right? So we can actually drag and drop and create pipelines here. And there are things that we can actually set as a setting. So you can see here that I have these connected resources that I already have deployed or I may have deployed. So and you can actually create a connection to different other resources if you have. And here you have all the options, like you want to delete the project or you want to get the API keys and endpoints for this project. Let's say you wanted to connect with your code editor or any other source that from where you wanted to access this, you can create and deploy an endpoint. I mean, it's already deployed, but you can get the endpoint to access it. All right. And there's a subscription ID. All these are a lot of things, a lot of places you will be needing them. And what is the location of that? What is the public network access is enabled or not, right? And hub resource name, etc., etc. You would be getting here. And you want to delete the project, you can delete it from here. You can also assign permissions to this, like you can create a user here and provide a permission to this Azure AI, a developer or contributor, owner or reader, right? So this is a great. Okay, so you can basically you can, if you have any compute resources deployed here, it will be showing here. Okay, and if you have any prompt flow running, it will show the prompt flow. So it's basically the overall things that you have on the project, on the Azure AI Studio project. You can manage it from the home page and the settings page. And you can also see the total cost for the project, which is very one of the important aspects, right? So how much, let's say I have uh, I have 5 or 6 different projects, different customers. I can actually create multiple projects in AI Studio, and I can deploy different solutions for each of those projects. That's a great advantage, and also you are able to provide access to different developers. So the developers are also different. You have that the correct accountability, and also monitor who is accessing what. Okay, and then next thing that what is I mean the more I would say the primary thing of this AI Studio is be able to access all the type of models, right? There are 1600, more than 1600 models, almost around 1674 models that is available on this AI Studio. That's great. I mean, from the latest to the oldest, you have GPT-4o, which is the latest chat model. And you also see a lot of models that are like open source, like Databricks, Dolly. We have Databricks, DBRX. We have so many Hugging Face models, like you can see these text generation models of Hugging Face. And we also have OpenAI Whisper, which is like a speech model. We have OpenAI clip image text. So there are enormous 1600 models, and you can't explore them. So, but these are like great set of collection here, right? So I can actually filter it if I wanted to get a specific model. Let's say I want image classification, I want an image segmentation or object detection or question answering. So let's say if I select question answering, it's going to give me all those models that supports question answering, like 5 6 years back we have been using too many of these. Okay, there is anything going on. So okay, I can assume single API key means, is single API means the open AI key, the one that what you shown. Yes, that's right. Is there any infrastructure automation tool like cloud formation in AWS to create such resources programmatically? Yes, MOE, there is AWS Azure SDK. It's available. Can use Azure SDK, Python SDK, and I think Node.js also they support. Ganesh is project is the entry point for the Azure AI Studio. Yeah, once you create the Azure AI service, then that's the entry point to Azure AI Studio. Once you go to Azure AI Studio, you would be able to create a project. Okay. Dhruv, are some of these models fine-tuned on any specific data set? No, they are not fine-tuned on a specific data set, because these are like more generic models that are provided, but you can fine-tune those models from AI Studio. Okay, are we good? Cool. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can put it in the chat. I'll see. Okay. Yeah, so I was saying that you can filter with basic different type of operations that you are looking for. If it's image based model, or if it's task wise also you can, and also you can select based on deployment type. See, I can deploy a managed compute, but the managed compute, if you look at, let's say, Meta Llama 3 is one of the latest models, right, from Meta, and this is like a managed. So if you have a managed deployment, in those cases, you can see the prices are like 0.0011 per 1,000 tokens, which is like, I think, around $1, $1.1. 3.5 GPT 3.5 OpenAI costs you around $2. Depends on the type of version that you are using, either 4K or 16K. And pay as you inference is like 0.00034. So that's a good one. But again, it's all about like the costing comparison, and also the capability comparison, the quality of the model comparison that you can do. So in this platform, when you deploy, right, so you can actually deploy a serverless API with Azure, or you can deploy managed compute with Azure AI Content Safety. So I'll show you a few things here. That this is Meta Llama 8 billion instruction model. But let's say I go here and I can select a non-serverless API. For example, let me choose something like a Hugging Face model. So when I choose a Hugging Face model, is there any question? Oh, okay. Where do we get fine-tuned models for specialized cases? No, there is not there only fine-tuned. I mean, there is no model that is already fine-tuned for Bipin. You will have to fine-tune your model. I mean, you can select a model from here, which the models that are available for fine-tuning. Only those models you can select from the list, and then you can choose your data set, and then you can fine-tune it. You also need to pay for the fine-tuning and GPU usage, etc. Ganesh, can you tell what is the difference between deploying in compute service and API one? Is that one I log into compute service? I'll tell you in layman. So it's like I give you an API, you just make a call to it. And it's the managed one is something that there is these models kept somewhere, list of models, and you deploy. When you deploy, you need to select a compute instance. So it will create a compute instance on Azure, and you would be managing that compute instance. So let's say if the compute instance is having 4 gig GPU, or 4 VRAM, or 4 GB VRAM, or 16 GB VRAM, it's up to you. And you also able to manage the cost. But there is a downside, is like you need to have a person who always monitoring this, or you need to have a script monitoring tool, a lot of stuff, right? So because if you're running in production, then if those compute services goes down, your services are down. So it's good to have a serverless thing, like you are not worried about it. But yes, there is a cost associated for that. You are paying for everything that you use as a serverless. Welcome, Vipin. So Ganesh has another question. So if the base model changes, then do I need to change it in the compute service? Base model changes, then yeah, that's a good question. So if the base model changes, mostly it's deployed on cloud, right? And it is linked to the cloud. So if the model version changes, it is taken care, because from here, when you deploy some of these models, you are, let's say, you can see this, I have this project, I have transformers, TGI, GPU large, and let's say I have to choose a virtual machine. Okay, I need to choose a virtual machine, and I'm paying for that, the virtual machine that is running, let's say, $27 per hour. So something like this, I mean, this is a big one, but this is too high. But let's say I'm choosing a bit lower, maybe $10 or or $5 service, and you are still paying more, um, if you are having a managed instance. And the thing is that, yes, there are many things that you can control, like the data leaving the cluster, or data leaving to others APIs, because through APIs, OpenAI APIs, you are pushing the data to OpenAI. But in this case, you are actually using something that is locally deployed, I mean, cloud native. Okay. Can we select someone? You can. I mean, that's what I said. That's the flexibility here. So you need to have a standard, but it depends on, like, you do not see it's showing you do not have enough quota for the following VM sizes. So I need to get the quota. But let's say I have certain smaller VMs. It actually shows right now 3 VMs here. But let's say I have a deployed a VM, and I am able to list that VM here, then I can actually use that. But you need to be careful about that, whether that particular VM what you chose, that is already deployed, is is able to handle that much of request, or the model size and loading of memory. Because a model is, there are two things, like you download the model and then you load it into the memory, and when you inference also, it has the prompt and a lot of data that you are feeding into the model. So all of this considered as the memory, right? So you need to take care of those things yourself. Serverless is more like auto scaling, right? So it's taking care, they are taking care of it, you are not worried about it. Make sense? Are we good? But yes, there is a downside, and there's a positive side, pros as well, like, especially in case of data security and privacy. Okay, let's move ahead, guys. I mean, I wanted to give the overall idea about this platform. So there are few things that you can do, and this is really, really good, is you can compare the models evaluation. So for example, I want to know that which models are now top, right? And I mean, there are a lot of other platforms where you can compare models, and you can also give some test data, and that will give you like where it is giving better results. But this is like an holistic, everything available here. And let's say I want to compare Azure OpenAI versus Meta. Okay, and I can do that. So it will show me all the Azure AI models and the Meta models, or Azure OpenAI models versus Meta models. But now I can just see the Meta models, and in Meta, what are the models that are like going fine. So you can see like Llama 2B and Meta Llama 3, which is the latest model, and is giving 4.8 almost coherence. So coherence is something that tells you how well a model is doing. And you can also see the model groundness. And now let's say I want to compare model groundness with Meta, and let's say Meta versus GPT 3.5, GPT-4, right? So if I do this, I should be able to select. So let me get to this Meta Llama. I don't see Llama here. Llama 3 and Llama 3 here. Okay. So you can see like they're pretty much on the similar benchmark. So this will show you the chart and the score for each of these models. So here it's showing the truthful QA generation score runs 4.658, right? And similarly, like here it shows for Squad V2. Uh, so there are all of these models that you can actually select and compare their performance on this platform. So that's a great feature. I mean, I'm just going to select everything, clear all. So yeah, so you can see like the top most model now is GPT-4, right? GPT-4 Turbo, 2024-0409. Now I think there is the latest model also released in May, and June as well. So which is not showing here, but I think OpenAI has released those. So there will be some lags between when they release it and when Microsoft Azure launches those in their platform. Um, Unless you are not using OpenAI, there is nothing to worry. But let's say if the OpenAI guys definitely will be a little bit ahead than Azure. Azure is also like a company who acquired OpenAI. So, but integrating in Azure platform, they take some time. Okay, so that is basically assessing model performance with evaluation metrics. So you can actually choose the best model, and you can choose based on task. Let's say I want to see like when question answering which model is doing good. You can see like GPT-4 32K, but I want to see like text generation which model is doing good. Here also GPT-4o, which is at the top, almost 0.921 is the model accuracy. So all of these are like you can list down here, and you would be able to compare and select the best model. Moving ahead, there's the prompt catalog. It gives you a lot of prompt suggestions, and you want to do, let's say, try out some of the prompt examples. For example, let's say I want to have a travel assistant. So I want to know that how do I generate a better travel plan. So it's like you are an AI assistant that helps people find information. This is like there is a based on this flight information board, can you provide specifics for my trip to Zurich, right? So the what the model is going to do is it's going to scrap the data from here, and it's going to tell when the flight is and what time it is. This is right really hazy picture. So the LLMs are able to do a lot of stuff in this also. Like if you guys tried GPT-4o, they are really good in image understanding, and especially these kind of images where it's tough to humanly read those images. Okay, and there are some textual blogs, like prompts, like for example, write a catchy and creative listicle style blog on the topic of emerging trends in e-commerce that are shaping the future of retail. The blog should have a memorable headline and so on. So we can actually choose some of these, you know, already existing prompts. Okay, so there are some playgrounds also. Playgrounds are really good. I mean, you will see playground in all AI services that Azure have. Everyone has playground, even AWS, Bedrock, OpenAI, and GCP. And in Azure AI, I'm saying we have Azure AI service, we have OpenAI service, we have Azure uh, AI Studio. All these three, which are actually giving you all the kind of generative AI tools, all have their own playground. So the playgrounds are good actually. I mean, because that eventually, if you wanted to, let's say, come up with your prompt and you want to test it out, the playground is a place that where you first test your prompt and how it's working, and then you can basically go ahead and deploy a code module. I mean, stack. Okay, so let me do one thing. I'll just quickly copy that. A little bit lazy here and typing, not typing a prompt. So, but I can type it here. So I'm just saying that you are an AI assistant that helps people um, plan plan holidays. Okay, something like that. Just say the system prompt. System prompt is like, let's say I want the model to behave like an yoga instructor, right? So that would be my system prompt. This is like the model to behave as a specific character or nature or flow. So now I'm saying that write a catchy and creative listicle style blog, right? So it's able to do that quickly here. No issues. All right. So this is chat playground. Similarly, I can do with assistant. But before I go there, there are a lot of features here. For example, you can see there's a view code. So I can actually copy paste this code, and I can create an environment variable of these, and I should be able to load those environment variable, and I can actually create an API out of this, right? And this can be used for all of the tasks that we are able to do from the UI, because UI playground is fine, but how you will deal with I mean, if you want to build an API and want to basically build an application that eventually does an API call to OpenAI or Azure-based deployments. But there are a lot of things that you need to do in an application, customizing an application, build prompt engineering layers, etc. So this is a good place to test things in development, but not for production, right? So we are not doing a product deployment here, but there is a thing that we can do. I will show you. So view code, prompt flow. Prompt flow is a like good place to create. So if you go here, I can actually create a prompt flow that would allow me to like create a pipeline kind of. Okay, I'll cancel it, but I'll show you. I don't know if it's just already gone to that. Yeah. Let it create. So let me show you something while it is creating. Yeah. So I can actually go to any of these projects here. 1 second. Yeah, I go to this project, not the one that I created just now, and I have some prompt flow. So let's say I have like, when I click, so there are some templates that are available, and you can create a prompt flow like this, right? So you have an input, you have a chat, and the output. So how do you create it? You can go here, you can click on create, so it shows you a lot of templates already available. So you can create chat flow or an evaluation flow and so on. So there are Q&A, web classification. Well, these are like default templates available, but you can also like once you go to on one of these templates, you can actually start, or you can modify it and you can add more components to that, right? So this is a chat completion. You need to ensure that you select the connection and the type of API that you want, and the deployment name, etc., the temperature, etc. You can set it out, and then you can provide the prompt. Let's say you are a helpful assistant, something like that, and I'm like, just this is like just a completion, right? So I can just do chat and I can say like so maybe I can just paste the same thing, write a catchy um, and creative listicle style blog on topic. So for testing out a lot of stuff, like you can add a Python code, you can add more tools here. So it's able to generate it, right? So it's a great place to like, integrate a lot of stuff like content safety or embedding. So if I do that, I can actually add an embedding test. And now, sorry, the naming conventions has to be really, really perfect in Azure. So once I do that, right, and I can see that there is something like embedding got added. Right. So I can actually keep doing that kind of stuff to ensure that I'm testing the things correctly. So this is like still in the creation mode. Let it be. So I'll come back and I'll show you a few more things. Let's say I wanted to integrate this whole thing in VS Code, right? It needs definitely a virtual machine. So I have a compute created here. So, or you can create a new compute. And now I can actually select GPU or CPU. Now I have a CPU device. So it is just selecting a CPU devices. And once I have a compute running, I mean, right now my compute I have had created is not running. So then you can actually launch it in VS Code and start utilizing or like coding the stack from here. Okay, so prompt flow code. There are many tools available. Tracing. The tracing is more like, you want to perform any debug on your LLM application. So this is this flow. Uh, I have created a prompt flow. You can use that for debugging as well. There's the evaluation metric also. So I can create a evaluation here. Let's say I wanted to um, you know select a scenario like question and answer with context, or question and answer without context, or I can select a flow to evaluate, right? So the flow that I had created there, and I can click on next, and I can also add my own data set. right, and provide the dataset column that I wanted to do evaluation. And I can select a specific metric. So let's say, just give a test or text. So actually I need to say dot text. I'll probably, because I haven't updated any data set here, so it will ask me for, updating a data set. So hopefully this will not work right now, but for now, I mean, just an understanding that this is like you can have an evaluation metric created. Okay, Ganesh, but this is only for structured data, right? And what about document which is unstructured? Yes, for that there is one more thing. You are right. This is for structured. So there is one more thing, that is the fine tuning section here, right? So under the tools, so I can actually select a model. So now I do not have any fine tuning model listed here, because the region that I have is not having any model that is available for fine tuning. So you need to ensure also that you are selecting a region that has these fine tuning options, and the models that are available also for fine tuning. So you can actually select that model, and once you confirm, it will ask you to upload a JSON-L data, and the JSON-L data should be like, in a proper format that the model, let's say if it is Q&A, then you need to have a Q&A JSON-L. So it gives you the format, also the template, how you want to, and then to upload the data set, and you can do fine tuning it. So it also shows you how much cost it will be and how much time it will run for. So this is the fine tuning section. If you want bring your own data, you can bring from blob storage, or you can connect from blob storage to bring your own data. You can create your indexes. Here on the deployment section, you'll see that I have created 3 deployments: GPT-4 Turbo, 35 Turbo, and Llama 2 7B and Llama 3 8B, right? Uh, I can click on create, and I can filter on based on the type of model that I want from the company. So let's say I want to select GPT-4, GPT-35 Turbo, and I can say confirm. So it's easy to deploy, and it gives you the details here. So you can drop down, you can select if you want a different variant, let's say 0613, and I can reduce or increase the number of tokens per minute rate. Let's say I just keep it some 50 percent of what is there, and I can click on deploy, right? So this will deploy a model, and it takes some time. And once it is deployed, you can open it in Playground, and basically what I was doing in the chat section, right? So from here I can list any of these models. Let's say I want to chat with Llama 3 8 billion. I can set out these parameters. I can add my data also if I want to add my data. So I can select from the blob storage, or any existing data if you have right now, let's say. So you can upload that data, and you can use that for RAG kind of purposes. Okay, so there are a few questions. What's the purpose of index? Indexing is for, let's say you have a data set, right? And you wanted to use that for RAG mining or something like that. So indexing helps you query the data faster, and it creates a vector also. First it creates an index, and then it creates a vector. For that you need to have cognitive search kind of API, or you can use any other vector database to create a vector out of it. Okay, Riddhi has a question. With fine tuning, does it mean specifically fine tuning based on weights, or even rags come under it? Rags are not fine tuning, right, Riddhi? Rag is not changing the behavior of LLM. Rag is basically querying an external knowledge that you provide to the LLM. LLMs are fine-tuned in the sense that you are either doing two kind of fine-tuning. One that's full fine-tuning, the other is like partial fine-tuning. Partial fine-tuning is like prompt-based tuning. You do zero shot or few shot or multi-shot. That's not changing the weights, but what it does, it kind of does a Siamese network. It compares the prompt, and it validates against another prompt, and it checks whether the accuracy is nearer. The other way is the full fine tuning, which is basically changing the weights. The fine tuning that you see, that's basically about changing the weights. That means you need a GPU server, you need a set of data, depends on the task that you have, and you also need the model that is allowed to do fine tuning. That's not RAG. That RAG is completely different stuff. Ganesh, changing the weights means fine tuning the model. Fine tuning the model means changing the weights. Changing the weight doesn't mean fine tuning, because changing the weights, I can also train a model from scratch. That is also basically getting the weights, right? Neural network. In neural network, what you do when you do back propagation and forward propagation, there is the initial weight, the weight changes in the back propagation and forward propagation, so that you get the accuracy close to the reality. That means the y minus y hat, right? The difference between that. So anyway, so bit of things here. I mean, I want to change the weight. It can be applicable only on the open models, not on. Yes, absolutely. If they are not allowing, like GPT-4, oh, never, they will not allow you to do any changes in their weights. The ones that are open source, first of all, and also in those open source, not all of them will allow you to do that. Llama Index is a framework. It's not a model. It's not an LLM, right? It's a framework that helps you build layers on top of LLMs. Like I want to do a API to connect with, maybe I want to read from JSON. I want to convert that into some readable text, and from there I want to create a vector database. I want to connect to a web scraper. All of these things you can do in Llama Index, and then definitely you need to make an API call like we are doing in Azure AI Studio or AI service. You need the API key and the endpoint for that. So finally, it comes down to the LLM. Llama Index, LangChain, these are frameworks that helps you. DSPY, right? Okay, so I said about cool. So thanks for asking those questions. Very interesting questions. I'm kind of tempted to go deep into those questions. I mean, I can talk whole day, but sorry. I mean, with the limited time, I wanted to demo most part of the AI Studio. So there is a AI assistant playground. If you wanted to, like, here I can provide an instruction and I can ask prompts here. And also here, from here, you can choose the type of model that you have. I can also have an image model like DALI, let's say, and I can try prompts from here. I can actually pass a prompt here and I can say try now. I can also have a completion playground. So completion is like more like you provide, so you are beautiful, beautiful person, right? So I say dot dot, and I can say generate, right? So this I can send the temperature and all those stuff. So it says I'm sorry for your loss. I don't know something. This is not good. Anyways, so yeah, so it's the completion model. You see that there is a difference between instruct and completion models. Ankit has a question, sir. Can you suggest to us the list of projects that we can build and mention in our resume so it can increase the value of our resume? Ankit, hold that question. I will come back once I am done with it. Okay. If we have time, maybe 2 3 minutes, I will take for that. Good, very good question. So prompt flow, tracing, evaluation, fine tuning. And one more thing I want to show you is content filter, which is one of the important features in AI Studio. So let's say I want the model to be restricted for certain type of content, and also want the model to be not generating certain type of content. So I can create a content filter. I can select the connection type and I can say next. And here I would be able to select what is the violence, what would be the amount of violence that I wanted to restrict, right? So this is allow or block or medium. So it's basically that these will be annotated by category and blocked according to the threshold you set for this violence, hate, sexual, and self-harm category. Adjust the slider to block content of high, medium, or low severity, right? So this is like a great feature. And you can also have a prompt shield for jailbreak attacks. So jailbreak is something that you wanted to ask a prompt in such a way that it is supposed to not answer something that, but it is answering. It's like jailbreak scenarios. So you can actually say annotation, only annotate the block, or you can turn it off, whatever. And prompt shield for indirect attacks, right? You can have a block list. So if you click a block list, you can select profanity or whatever block list you want to create. You see, next I have a category of um, output filter. There is an input filter, and please keep yourself on mute if you're not speaking. Goris, any questions? Okay, and I can choose. Let's say I have a internal model and I have an open model. I have a public model, or I might have multiple projects, right? So so in that case, I can select the model that where I wanted to apply certain filters. So that's basically one more feature that is available here. Okay, so all right. I talked about model catalog, model benchmark, from catalog. One more interesting thing that you can do here, do you know that, is if you go to any of these models, let's say I want to go to a deployed model. So I chose GPT-4 Turbo, and I go to Open Playground. There is an option that you can click and deploy a web app. So this is like one click web app. You can create a web app with all those settings and prompts, and you can have a prompt flow as well, and this will launch a web app instantly. It takes some time, like 10 to 15 minutes, and it will give you a web URL. So I'll show you that I have created one just to show you guys. So this is the demo URL. So and here I can actually ask any prompt. So let's say like I will try some zero shot or maybe a few shot prompt here. Let me do that. So something like, second, to ensure that I'm passing something. So let's say I'm saying write a story about a detective. Um, Write a story about a detective solving a mystery in small town, and it's a few short, right? So I'm giving some example. Detective Sarah Parker walked into the quaint little town with meadow and so on. And example two, as a sunset over the sleepy town, Detective John Clark knew he was close to cracking the case. Now I'm actually giving this to write a story. So you can see this is my web app which got ready from one click, right? And it is generating answer. So now it had got me a similar story, example three. Okay, so that's a great feature here in the AI Studio, and I hope like this gives you a very brief overview of all the stuff that we can do in the AI Studio. With that, I would like to conclude for AI Studio and take up more questions with the time available. I can see there's a chat question from Ganesh. One final question. All these interfaces are in the Azure. Suppose if I want to create an endpoint with all these configuration and want to share it to the front-end team, can I use the web deploy then with the appropriate model and fine tune? Yes, that's the purpose, right? This web app that I have deployed, that gives you the ability, the web app that I have deployed, that gives you the ability to use those settings that you have, right? So if I go here, right, when I deploy this model, I deploy a web app, I can choose the model that I have and the settings for that, and also I can define a prompt flow for that specific model. So I let me see if I can show you. It's supposed to give me, I think it's already have the web app, that's why it's not giving me the option, but it's not launching it for some reason, but fine. So that basically gives you the options like to use the settings and the configuration that the model has. Okay, so thanks for the session. Okay, all right. Welcome, Vipin. I joined slightly late. Can you introduce yourself? Also, can you compare AWS and Azure Studio and let us know which is easier and quick to deploy and which is most cost efficient? Very difficult question, Vipin. I have used both Azure, and AWS Bedrock, but I can tell you that Azure is also easier. Azure has lot of models, lot of catalogs, lot of options, and lot of features. AWS will give you only specific stuff, but if you see about a production model and also something that is cost effective, I would say AWS has chosen very specific models. For example, you would not get cloud models in Azure, right? That's one of the thing. Cloud models are almost equivalent to GPT-4. The cost is like GPT 3.5 Turbo 16K. So, which is the biggest advantage because you are see today this using these models is not a big deal, right? What companies are looking for is the most cost efficient way to use this. So they're one of the biggest drawback in Azure, I feel personally. But one more advantage that it has, like you have Hugging Face models. If you want to use Hugging Face model, you want to use some of the open source model like DBRX. These things are not available in AWS. And also, I personally feel AWS cloud stack like CDK and base deployment using Lambda functions and also DynamoDB make a whole infrastructure with generative AI kind of stuff. It becomes much more easier in AWS. That's my personal feedback, but yeah, as do you asked. Riddhi, how do we implement function calling? Function calling is like you can use LangChain or Llama index, similar to any other OpenAI stack. Ankit, yeah, so I'll stop sharing now. I think I'm done with my AI Studio presentation, and I hope all of you have enjoyed this. I'll take the last question from Vipin because Vipin has a question. Okay, so can you suggest to us the list of projects that we can build and mention in our resume so it can increase the value of our resume? Ankit, I would say a project you can get any demo projects, but that is not the goal. The goal is to acquire knowledge, the knowledge that you can demonstrate in the company interviews, right? Companies are looking for people who can solve their problems, and not just have done some demo projects. Yes, what you can do is there are enormous problems that are available in the internet. For example, let's say I want to do read some emails of mine. Just you can do it on your own email IDs, and then let's say summarize it and able to send out an email, or maybe find out all the top bullet points from an email, from a chain of emails also, and get the context, and the next email that you will be sending is based on that. Just an idea, but there could be enormous such things that you can take. Do the problem solving yourself, not a ready-made project. Look for data and think about how LLM can be helpful. You can do a very tiny project. The idea is to showcase that you have the capability and understanding of LLM and how it works. RAG or vector DB implementation is also a very useful project. All right. Vipin, I have around 13 years of experience. I worked with LLMs for 1.5 years. Since it is released, I also have done some work, in the free, I mean, open source LLMs such as Llama 2 and when Alpaca and these kind of models came up. And I also do a lot of, knowledge sharing. DataCouch, I have been associated for 2.5 years almost. So I do a lot of webinars, and I've been, sharing my knowledge in the from the industry. So that's a quick background, Vipin, about me. All right. Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, Ganesh.
Wonderful reviews you are getting in the chat, and indeed, as it was expected from my end and DataCouch end. So, Indrajit, thanks a lot for this wonderful session on AI, Azure AI Studio, and thanks a lot from viewers and DataCouch for this wonderful session. And guys, please do follow us on social media. And if someone has joined late, you can also follow us on YouTube. Various social media channel links have been given in the chat. You can follow us all, and you can see other wonderful sessions also given by other experts like Indrajit. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for joining up, and I hope we continue to give such wonderful sessions to you in the times to come. Thank you, Indrajit, for joining. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Ankit, we can take that offline. If you want to reach out to us, we can. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Okay, Indrajit,
Thank you.
thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye. Bye,
Bye.
everyone.
And guys, do please share feedback. If there is a feedback form in the chat, please do share your feedback. And if there is any specific question, we will try to circle you back on that. Thanks a lot.